Just kind of don't even worry about proper technique or the creases in your eye because the camera's not going to pick it up that well anyway. So there you go. That's how you get ready to make a YouTube video. Hello peoples! Welcome back to Full Metal Friday! Last week, we started an analysis drawing parallels between the homunculi of Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and the divine judgment within Dante's Divine Comedy. And a link to part 1 of this video is going to be in the link in the description below. This analysis is based off of 2 archived Reddit posts, and the links to the originals will again be in the description below. Last week, we covered gluttony, wrath, and envy. This week, we will go over sloth, lust, greed, and pride. Number 1. Well, technically it's number 4 since we're continuing from last week. Sloth. No, not that sloth. This sloth. And also this sloth. Because I'm going to be talking about both of them. While the sin of sloth is commonly associated with laziness, it can also mean apathy, extreme disinterest, or an unwillingness to act. In the manga and Brotherhood, sloth's victims were the corrupt of the military. General Raven, though not killed by Sloth himself, but as a direct result of his association with him, is buried in cement, where the Divine Comedy punishes the slothful by making them one with the ground to be trampled on. Raven is never willing to do his own killing, bringing the more than willing Kimblee along with him to do all the dirty work. Other corrupt officers, who stopped caring about and became apathetic towards the citizens they should have been protecting, die directly at Sloth's hand later on. The Armstrong siblings are the ones to take down this homunculus, 2 people who stand for the exact opposite of all that Sloth is. Olivier values strength, hard work, and commitment above all else, and embodies these qualities. Alex Louise suffers a nervous breakdown due to a crisis of conscience while serving in Ishval, proving that he is the exact opposite of apathetic. Now, although Sloth of 2003 and the Sloth of the manga and Brotherhood are not even remotely the same character, their divine judgment is, in my opinion, shown equally well. Edward's unwillingness to act, therefore his sin of sloth, presents as an unwillingness to take an offensive stance against the homunculi. Overcoming this after killing Greed, he plots to destroy his and his brother's own creation, Sloth, the homunculus created by them in their attempt to resurrect their mother. He ends up transmuting her liquid body into pure ethanol, an organic liquid compound that quickly evaporates into the air. 5. Lust. Children and prudes should probably skip this part, obviously, but since you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're just fine with Full Metal Alchemist and should therefore be fine with the analysis. The most perfect example of divine judgment in lust victims is Barry the Chopper. As Honeybee Hound says in the original Reddit post, quote, Barry's demise is perfect. During his life in the flesh, he found sexual gratification in butchering and dismembering women. But after Barry takes his cleaver to his own flesh body, Lust cuts Barry's armor pseudo-body to pieces in a manner that mimicked the way he killed. Almost as perfectly fitting is Jean Havoc. The notorious womanizing lieutenant allows himself to be manipulated by Solora, and in turn ends up paralyzed from the waist down. The man who was undone by his lust is now unable to experience sexual pleasure. The fact that this is a stab wound is also highly significant, because stabbing is a bodily penetration directly inflicted from one person to another, and is therefore often symbolically representative of rape. The Divine Comedy punishes the lustful by forcing them to pass through walls of fire to purify their souls, and Mustang burns Lust to death, having to light her multiple times before she finally dies. Now, there is a lot of disagreement among fans as to exactly why or even if it fits the parallel for Mustang to deliver Lust's divine judgment. Some argue that he got stabbed because he's such a pervert, but went on to defeat Lust because he's a more, innocent kind of pervert as opposed to the overtly promiscuous Havoc. As evidence of this is the famous tiny miniskirt speech, originally from the manga, but that is in 2003, but is sadly missing from Brotherhood. I can mostly agree with that, but my personal take on it is that although Mustang may be accused of perversion, he often denies himself personal pleasure, not only physical but emotional as well, in favor of focusing on duty. This is why he will never admit his feelings for Riza Hawkeye, nor will she admit hers for him, and therefore, in her belief that Mustang is dead, she weakens Lust by unloading every last round of ammunition into her before Mustang arrives to finish her off with repeated fireballs. Agree or disagree with any of those theories? I don't know what you ship. Fight it out in the comments. Greed. In both anime, we first meet original Greed in the underground of the Devil's Nest after his gang of Chimera kidnap Alphonse, as discussed in Wrath's analysis. The Elric brothers are just barely beaten by Greed in this sequence due to their own sin of greed. Their tireless efforts to obtain the Philosopher's Stone in order to get their bodies back is proof of this. As Greed says to Edward much later in the series after he's taken over Ling's body, quote, "People think greed is just about money or power, but we all want something we don't have." After Wrath captures Greed and brings him to Father's lair, Greed is essentially boiled alive and his core is reassimilated into Father, where in the greed circle of the Inferno, the greedy are boiled alive. Also, those who steal have their bodies taken over by serpents, much in the way that Ling was possessed by Greed. In the end, Greed plays a major part in Father's destruction, the ultimate greedy being. But in doing this, he defies what he was created to be and dies as a result. So, did Greed defeat and overcome himself? Something else for you to fight out in the comments. Number 7, Pride. The name of Pride is given to the oldest and strongest of the homunculi, making sense because it is the oldest and strongest of all sins, and of all the 7 deadly sins, pride is the most difficult for humans to overcome, which is also why he was the last to be defeated, and the last to be discussed in this analysis. Edward admits his arrogance to Rose by drawing parallels between himself and Icarus, who in Greek mythology flew too close to the sun on wings of wax and crashed into the sea. Edward knows full well that it is his own sin of pride that resulted in the loss of his limbs and Al's body, and this is what he uses to, for the most part, keep his own pride in check. But being the teenage boy that Edward is, he is still cocky and arrogant, often rushing headstrong into situations where he gets his ass proverbially handed to him on quite a regular basis. However, this lessens as the story progresses, as the older Elric brother learns and matures, and by the last battle, he finally accepts that he has never been more than an ordinary human and has overcome enough of his pride to defeat the homunculus by reducing him to the weakest possible human form, the likeness of a human fetus. A very fitting end for Pride. In 2003, King Bradley is Pride, not Wrath, and Mustang delivers his divine judgment. Mustang's pride was similarly chipped away over the course of 2003, his most humbling experience being the revelation that he killed Winry's parents under military order. Pride, and remember we're talking about Bradley, kept the one thing that could destroy him, the skull of the human he was meant to be, in his office safe, showing it only to his son, Salim. In his arrogance that leads to his demise, when Salim, believing that he is doing a good thing for his father, brings the skull to him during his fight with Mustang, enabling Mustang to kill him. So there you have it, peoples. The delivery of the divine judgment, of the 7 deadly sins of Dante's Divine Comedy, and the 7 homunculi of Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I don't know if anyone is actually watching these videos right now, but peoples, the internet is sadly lacking in fan theories that would be worthy of making a full video of. So if anybody out there happens to be watching and knows of a fan theory that you think would make a good YouTube video, drop a comment. Comment. And let me know. So until I find good fan theories to do videos off of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delve into the arcane sciences, the real alchemy, as I've had to do before to design a transmutation circle for one of my original characters. Break down a few of the transmutation circles that have been used throughout the series. I'm probably going to start with Mustangs because I like fire. Keep me away from lighters, peoples. Well, anyway, that's all for today. I am Wyan. I will see you next week on Full Metal Friday or tomorrow with the Saturday Showdown.